Well, good morning. I think it's going to be a little bit different this week because we're going to be using this Riso machine here with these inks and also these inks to try to make these prints here. And I'm putting all that up front because YouTube tells me I'm supposed to drop interesting things in the first 15 seconds. So, this week is... And of course, I don't know if any of that's going to work because I haven't shot any of that footage yet. So fingers crossed, let's get into the studio and talk about it.
I'm going to be using some software called Spectrolite by Anemone. The camera's here, but I'm going to look at my screen here. So if I'm looking over the top of your head and it's a bit weird, that is why. I'm going to use about 10% of it. It does so much more stuff for laying out zines and everything. I'm going to use it in the simplest way possible, and I'm going to use the printer in the same way. Let me have a look at... This is the image that I've been sent, and again, this really scares me because there's so much black in here that we're going to see how we cope with this. And then I've got all these other images here as well. So these are all Creative Commons photos from Flickr that are on different accounts that archive these type of things. So I'm free to use any of those. And then down here, I've also got a couple of pulpy pictures from old magazines, amazing stories. These are definitely not public domain and out of copyright, but I'm just going to use them to test printing and then not do anything with them. So no copyright infringement here, kind of, sort of. Now, to keep things slightly easier, I'm going to use Photoshop just to lay stuff out. So let's go grab one of these images and drop it on here. It's only tiny, so that's another thing. So let's just put this up here, maybe put a nice bit of gap around it. Because black ink is so dark, the rollers are probably going to pick up some of this ink, so I'm leaving a lot of border around it at the top and bottom around here, so if we do track any ink, it goes onto there. So let's just reduce this black a little bit. So this is going to be my image. I'm going to export this now. All right then, let's make this big. So our Riso has these colors: black, a medium blue, fluorescent pink, yellow, green, and red. I'll come to these in a second. So these four here are kind of the Riso equivalent to CMYK. So Dan, who supplied the inks to us and the printer, suggested medium blue instead of cyan and fluorescent pink because everyone loves fluorescent pink. Which is fine. I've also seen on Kelly's videos that she uses these for. I'm assuming this is kind of the Riso equivalent of CMYK, and you can set up palettes. I've got this green red here for a different reason I'll come to in a second. Here's a bunch of palettes. I'm going to use a 4-color one, and then this is the typical one here. So let's use that. Go to canvas, just normal stuff. Well, let's Risify it. And this is splitting out all of this stuff into these separate colors. So black, blue, cyan. Let's just turn that off. There you go. So that's what it looks like without. And over here's the ink coverage, 65/43. I'm still a bit scared about this black. So I'm going to take this opacity down to 80% and redo it. So it's not quite as black. You can see it's a bit slightly washed out, but I'm okay with that for a first time test. So let us export that. Here's the black. This is the medium blue. This is the fluorescent pink. And then this is the yellow. Now, our Riso printer is a 2-drum. So we can do easily 2 colors and they'll line up really well, or 4 colors, could do 3 colors. But this time, I'm going to use green and bright red. So the reason for this is when I was really young, my grandfather had a whole bunch of magazines, not like that, that were landscape photography things, and it seemed to save money. They just used 2 inks, which was red and green. So the skies were kind of grey, but it actually captured quite a lot of colours. So it was kind of tricky, weird. And I think, just search, let's see if there's a name for just green and red. There doesn't seem to be one, but it seemed to be a way of making a cheap 2-color print. So if we do this, I think this is looking all right. It's taking that for kind of like a red-green version. We could try different ones, I guess. 2 colors. Got all these different ones, so we could go for want something with a. Let's try a red-blue. which is also all right, but I'm going to go back for the red green that we had, 2 colors. Okay, so in theory we can do our CMYK, which is 4 of our inks, and we've got red, green as extra inks. Again, this is all a test. I'm going to export this, and then...
Alright, so we're in the other studio. And the Riso machine, alright, no Riso, right, is here. So here's all our inks. Here's a whole stack of paper, and there's more down there. Now, I can see we've already got green and red in the machine, which is good, because that's what I want to test first. So that's our 2 ink colours, because I want to do this design as just a green and red. This is the green. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but here is the red, and this is really solid. I've made this one a little bit lighter. It says in Spectrolite that the percentages are right, but also you're supposed to avoid solid blocks of colour. So that's a little bit disturbing. But at the same time, I have to help other people use this machine, and I don't know what limit you can push it to. So if I do this one, like the darkest one first, on thin paper, place original for print colour 1, which is green, and press the start key. Alright, so that's the green, and it went through okay. Should we just go for it? What it's doing now is it's making a stencil, which is like if for screen printing, only the screen is around the barrel. And then once it's done that, the paper goes underneath the drums that press the ink through the screen out to here. It's called a stencil. So each time you change the design, it gets rid of the old stencil and then creates a new one. No. Okay. Amazing, that's so much ink. This is such a bad idea. Okay, so the paper didn't stick. So now I'm going to try some 100 GSM. Now I'm just going to leave those there for a little while because I'm slightly scared of touching them. Okay, next test. CMYK-ish, which is what I think you call it for Riso printers, in that this isn't quite cyan. Like I said before, this is what I've seen other people use. This is what I've seen on a couple of videos. This is what the guy who supplied our machine suggested we do instead of having cyan here. I've been thinking about the print of the lady train driver the other day. I assume I need to look up the description, and I've decided it's slightly too perfect. It did such a good job of it that you can't really tell that you don't immediately go, oh, that's Riso printing. So I'm thinking today we might redo it in halftone pattern to see whether we can make it a little bit more Riso-y. And I'm also going to try some other photos as well that aren't quite so solidly like dark black, to have a few more colours in there to see if that makes a difference. Oh, there's so much red ink. There's so much red. Anyway, I can't do anything with these because, like I said, they're all copyright. They're all copyrighted because even though they're from these old magazines, they're definitely still within the 75-year thing. Here's our train driver. I didn't get a good video of this coming out of the machine, and also I wanted them to dry for a little while first. I mean, ink never truly dries, it still smudges a bit, but it looks so much better now that it has had a chance to dry and soak into the paper. This feels like newsprint. and it actually looks really good, almost too good, especially to be like, as it's a really low resolution image. So I think I'm going to have a go at doing halftone and see if that gives it a bit of a more expected Riso look.
All right, clap clap. Okay, we're back here again, and we're going to pick the one that we know works, the classic. Okay, and then going to drop in this train driver again. But over here we're going to halftone it, and we're just going to leave the defaults. The darkest color on a 45-degree angle, which is correct, and then 15, and then the lightest one is on the horizontal line. The reason why we do this is the eye is really good at picking up patterns, and 45 is the least recognizable one. Otherwise, all these black dots will just look like horizontal lines. We don't want that. Top halftone tip. Anyway, there we go. So we've half-toned it, which is this. So you can see in here, that's pretty good. Now, because the way the ink spreads, I think I want to make it down to 60, which gives it slightly more of that half-tone look, that we'll actually see the half-tone. I don't know. So this is one of the problems I have at the moment, is I haven't worked out how to plug my laptop into the machine yet. So I have to print these stencils here and then take them over. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to get a cable, the network cable, and connect this laptop direct to the machine, so I'll be able to iterate through things a little bit faster. So we can see here that the halftone is bigger, and I think that's what I want to do. So I printed them back out again using halftone, and they're really good. It has that much more Riso kind of look to it. Newspaper, print paper, got some card as well, and it looks fantastic on that. Here's just a black and blue one, and to be honest, probably should have done this all the time. And then here's some misalignments that I had to adjust. And then here's the attempt at the photos in 4 colors. And this was about 600 pixels, so it was really low resolution. So there we go. Just have to cut these ones up. These ones look fine proportion wise. Whole stack of those. These ones are still okay on the margins. This is one I shoved through just at the end, which was on the black and blue. I actually kind of like that. I think black and blue work well. These ones are sort of okay. You're starting to see the margins be slightly wrong, obviously, because these are getting smaller. These are okay. Black and blue again. But these ones here, this is one that was right in the corner, so it's got the extra margin at the top and to the right. So I guess I would trim those down a little bit more. But otherwise, they're kind of fun. Right, again, I've done very little alignment. We're just messing around here. I know I've said that several times, but let's just go for it. Like I said before, I'm not like the biggest fan of, hey, let's print photos with a Riso machine. But there we go. That is 10-point text, which appears to be fine. Right, that's that experimenting done. So, yes, I can pack up, go back to the studio, happy in the knowledge that I have some outputs that say whether it does or doesn't work. Suppose I could half-tone these. I'm not going to, though. I think I've done enough for photos to get a feel for how we should lean into Riso rather than go, hey, let's use it to print photos. Got some nice funky effects. So, okay, let's go, because I'm tired.
I think I messed up yesterday. I realized this while walking home, that I think I had the Riso printer in the wrong setting. And now it's ridiculously early in the morning because my brain couldn't stop thinking about it and it kept me awake all night. So I've been tossing and turning. And then this morning I just woke up. I was like, I have to get into the studio to check it out, which is why Thursday went past really quickly and I didn't really show that in the video because it's all wrong. Because here on the Riso, there's 4 settings here. There's line, which is for line art, like you have Sharpies or protest posters, things like that. Photo, duo, and then pencil, that's for more subtle shading. Should have picked photo, and I picked line. So, basically, it's doing like posterization, so it's either all on or all off with very little shading. That's the mistake I made. And also, I think, under dot process, I could also add a little bit of dot processing to it, which I might do, which is this machine's version of half-toning without me having to do half-tone. I'm going to put it on... Come on. Okay. That is so much better. Okay, so here is baby when we're doing it all properly. And this is when I had the photo on line mode. Because I was a little bit sad yesterday when I just put this through. It's because it was really busy. I was rushing at the end of the day. There's somebody in here. I just wanted to get it done really quickly, so I slammed all the things in. It wasn't until I was trying to sleep that I figured it out. I'm so pleased that it actually isn't awful. I mean, it's still not great for photos and things like that, but it's better than I thought it was. Alright, let's call this end of Riso week and some reflections. How do I think it went? Well, I wanted to learn how to use the machine, which I think I've done. I've managed to jam it a few times, which is good because now I know what to do. I've still got so much to learn, that's obvious, and really rushed at the end of the week. I wanted just to see if I could print high resolution, normal photos as opposed to the low resolution old ones. I messed it up yesterday. You can see here, this is when I put it into line mode, which is the default setting. And I didn't notice. I was doing it quickly. You got all these solid colors because the colors are either on or off generally. And I was kind of feeling disgruntled? No, discouraged that it wasn't as simple as just taking a photo into Spectrolite, exporting it and then printing it. I knew it wasn't that simple anyway, but I did want to see what the minimal effort was of could I just do something really quickly and get an okay result. Obviously, if you're going to put more time and effort in, you're going to get something better. So over here, these are the ones where I actually had the correct setting. So this is done in photo mode. I added a little bit of grain. The baby here, I like how the pink pops here. It's got kind of Riso style to it. But the red here seems to work better for this subject, and this was the appalling in line mode again. So yeah, I really messed that up. But what I'm super impressed with is actually, when I'm not messing this up, how incredibly easy the machine is to use. And I'm using in the most old school fashion by putting like things into the top to scan. Over the weekend, I might try to attach a laptop to it, which I think will make things a little bit easier. But yeah, it's surprisingly fast. It's kind of ridiculously cheap. Again, somewhere between photocopying and screen printing. It kind of lives here. But suddenly pop out 20 ray gun, wherever I got them, ray gun prints was like really nice. It just happened just like that. So next week we'll get back to our regular schedule of like week notes, and it won't be a mad Riso week. There'll still be a little bit. I'm still doing notebooks. It's mainly going to be focused more on the drawing machine tutorials. I am going to have a lovely weekend. I'm going to look forward to a lovely relaxed weekend. Thank you for joining me this week. I know it's been a little bit weird because it's mainly focused on just one topic, but it's new and it's exciting. I love you all. You're all lovely. Have a great weekend. I will see you back to normal next week.